We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast. This is Abe. I'm your host. Today we're going to be covering an alien language that someone created, a professor. I know it's kind of out there, but you'll see. Just pay attention. It's kind of an interesting story. I thought it was interesting, and I haven't spoke about it yet. It's pretty much theoretically a language that he created for when we ever get invaded or just make contact, or if they come here in general. But yeah, I usually start with an update. I lost 3 subscribers today. I guess I don't know what I did wrong, because every podcast that I put out recently has always been thumbs up, 0 thumbs down. I posted 2 cat videos. They're like 30-second video of my kitten, and I know I did it the other day, and I don't know, I just thought it was a cute video, and it got thumbs down. And honestly though, like, if you're a subscriber and you seriously just gonna thumbs down and unsubscribe because I post like a 30-second cat video, yeah, I don't want you as a fan. So I guess separate the wheat from the chaff is what the Bible says. I ain't got time for that negativity in my life. Honestly though, it don't matter to me. I don't care. I don't get paid for this, so I just do it out of love. If you either like it or you don't. But I try to stay positive and stuff. It was kind of discouraging, that I've been putting out a shit ton of podcasts here recently, and then I lose subscribers, and it's like, well, shit. All right, cool, I guess. I don't know what I did wrong, but all right. Thanks for at least letting me know before you unsubscribe, so that way I don't do it again. But whatever, dude. I'm going to do my thing, and I hope you guys enjoy. But yeah, alien language is today's episode name, and we'll get into it. And I take this little section from the new UFO sightings. This is the last of what I will be teaching, if not speaking about, using this book for, so I'm going to put it back on the shelf. I've used it for quite a few of these episodes with little accounts of UFO encounters and alien encounters and stuff like that, and it's been a very good source. People have enjoyed it. People have liked the episodes and stuff. But this is the last of it, so I like to give a shout out to the new UFO sightings, and it's written by Glenn McWayne and David Graham. But this is the alien language that was created by a professor. If the strangers in our skies should one day decide to declare themselves to us as agents of a superior culture, what should man do? Counterattack with nuclear ammo we possess, or should we submit to them and allow them to take over? if their weapons are as superior to our warheads and missiles as their heavier than air vehicles are to our jets and rockets, a war between the worlds might result in extinction of both our species. But Dr. W. John Weilgart says that man should neither attack nor submit. Our species must talk to them, write to them. Certain of the UFO-nauts might be appearing to warn us, to advise us, to help us. We must try to communicate with them. How can we do that? One immediately counters. How should our uninvited guests learn the more than 700 languages of our illogical little planet? Should they bother to learn 600,000 words of even one major Earth language? Should they spend months mastering the spelling and pronunciation of the English language so that they might enunciate properly when they approach the White House? Dr. Weilgart is not one to set forth a difficult premise without offering a solution. The answer, according to the Vienna-born psychotherapist, lies in A, lowercase, UI, both uppercase, the language of space. The language, A, lowercase, UI, uppercase, pronounced AUI, consists of 30 sounds, each a category and a symbol. The entire logos can fit on the postage stamp and can be learned within an hour. In Dr. Weilgart's words, AUI is the language of space. It's the primeval language of the logos of pure reason that takes our human race back before the confusion of tongues at the Tower of Babel. Mine is a transparent language in which each word becomes like a chemical formula of its contents. Similar concepts sound similar. Different ideas sound different. Opposites are recognized. Word and meaning are one with AUI. Can be radioed to the most distant galaxy. In this language of space, there can be no tragedies or prejudice. There are no synonyms or homonyms, no puns or double talk. Although he has doctoral degrees in linguistics and psychology from the universities of Vienna and Heidelberg, in a single mystic moment, Dr. Weilgart was given AUI, a new language for a new brotherhood of man. When he was a child of 5 in his native Austria, Dr. Weilgart had his first cosmic experience. A stranger in a star-strewn mantle appeared to him and said, "Thou must die, Wolfgang." Haha, alright, well let's take a break right there. Yeah, little side note, man, and I'm trying not to be in a bad mood. I really ain't. I was actually going to put out a different podcast today talking about vaccines and some stuff that I've seen here recently, but hell, if I'm gonna lose subscribers, I mean, yeah, I don't know what to tell y'all, man. I'm kind of losing hope in humanity a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy out there, and I'm trying to help people, but it's like no one wants to listen, you know. Been screaming stuff at the rooftops for 10 years now. I've been a conspiracy theorist since I was 18 years old, and I'm almost 30. I don't know. I'm going to take a little side break, and I'll come right back. So, alright, no rabbit holes today, man. Losing subs, and besides, man, I've already got plenty of strikes. I don't know what to tell you. Hopefully, let's stay positive. Just enjoy the story, I guess. The child answered firmly, I am ready. And this is from that space visitor he got visited by. From this moment on, he felt a new cosmic life stream had entered him, as if his former life had been dissolved, as if his former self had died. Wolfgang dictated to his older sister a drama, Sarad Uris, which in the language of space means that good light, which comes through the spirit. Sarad Uris is a spaceman savior who comes to Earth to guide mankind away from its wars and to bring peace through understanding. The rules of peace revealed in this drama are not only derived from sentimental love, but also from a justice which is based on the status quo, as well as on a program of survival for those who are worthy to survive and can survive. Creative spirit lives on still. Destroyers perish while they kill. Dr. Weilgart relates his most crucial cosmic experience in poetic form as an introduction to his book, Aui, the Language of Space. The boy Johnny, seated at a mountain creek, is alerted to an alien presence by a strange flute-like sound. There is a mysterious being, a butterfly with green, leafy wings and root-like legs. That sounds pretty cool. It circled and sat down on my knee. The sounds it made were piped through its flute-like body, and yet they waited from far away. And then I knew that this thing must have come from somewhere else. It's written like a poem, so that's why I'm saying it like it. And I began to understand that it was talking to me. Could we be friends? It showed strange signs, and put them together, and they made sense. And what I heard was from another place. I learnt the language of space. Johnny learns that the being has come from a distant star, from where it had watched Earthmen fight against the dragons of the sagas. Haha! So it's getting into dragon lore, talking about leftover dinosaurs and stuff. Nice. I know it's out there, but I believe it. There you go. Unsub. I believe dinosaurs are dragons. I know. That's crazy. But now when the nature's foes lie defeated at his feet, man turns his weapons against his brethren, and his rallying cry is still the slogan of hate, the word of conventional language. Your words give murder a beautiful name, and call a killer a hero. So if I give you gold of my wisdom, wrapped in the burlap bags of your words, you would use it to club each other to death. When Wolfgang told his parents of his experience, they sent him to a psychiatrist. Yeah, with poetry like that, yeah. God, I got some wicked poetry here. I've talked about it previously. Like, yeah, I don't know. I was scared to show my wife, my poetry. I'm like, there's a green folder here. It's literally a phone book size of poetry. Read it at your own risk. If you read it and you're still around, I'll put a ring on it, And she's read it and stuck around, so that's why I married her. When Wolfgang told his parents of it, they sent him to a psychiatrist, who, however, found the 6-year-old child's only abnormality to be the fact that he could solve the problems of a 13-year-old. His Binet IQ tested above 200. Recently, IQ tests were repeated on the Dr. Weilgart, and he was made a member of the American Mensa, the world's highest IQ society. The psychiatrist warned the child that in Western society, uncommon experiences may be told only as dreams or in poems. Dr. Weilgart wrote his first doctoral dissertation on creation and contemplation. It was one of the few outspoken pacifist statements against Hitler and the whole Nazi ideology of aggressive action. And this is what he wrote. In horizontal collective action, man resembles a swarming ant, but man's contemplative eye comprises the cosmic universe. Horizontal action leads to reaction and clashes in war and ultimately annihilation. But in the creation and contemplation, man rises vertically up to the spirit. Nice. Fighting the Nazis with pacifism, but eloquently, I do say so myself. His father, Dr. Hofrat Weilgartner, had worked for Enclus, the annexation of Austria by Germany, and so the Nazis expected similar cooperation from the son. But Wolfgang John had another of his cosmic communications. He spent an afternoon and evening wrapped in contemplation. In a cosmic insight of peace, his father dreams of the glory of the German Reich, and his mother's entreaties faded into nothingness. By the way, little side note, I have always wanted to, if I ever had a baby boy, name him Wolfgang. Wolfgang LaVey Williams. I don't know, I thought that would be awesome. Wolfgang is such an awesome name, and I knew a kid. His name was Alex, and his middle name was Wolfgang. Which Wolfgang is actually Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. That's his first name, is Wolfgang. There's an awesome movie that kind of is like a biography on Mozart. It's called Amadeus, and you'll hear throughout the movie they call him Wolfie. You know, Wolfie. I don't know, I just thought that was such a cool fucking name, dude. Imagine being a boy with the name Wolfgang. I don't know, it just sounds badass. The Nazis had offered him a high position in their secret service because of his dozen languages, his knowledge of psychology, and his friendship with the underground, against whom they wished him to be an informer. Although this intelligence position would have been the only way to rehabilitate himself in the eyes of the Nazis, whom he had offended by his dissertation, Dr. Weilgart refused. His cosmic voice told him to flee to Holland. He had few friends from whom he could trust, and no connections with practical helpers. His parents had filled his pockets with money, but so much money was a sign of flight. Following his inner voice, he gave his funds, together with the address of his parents, to a man near the border. The man sent all the money back to his parents. Most people would have suspected flight and would have kept the money or even betrayed the refugee to the Gestapo, whose border patrols searched every suspect. Dr. Weilgart was in fact stopped by such a patrol. Dude, I've read this once, but I forgot how epic of a story this is. A guy who created an alien language to communicate with aliens, had alien contact, and he's running from Nazis. You can't make this shit up. I don't know. I love these types of stories, and it's crazy. Sadly, some of the crazier stories that I put out there, they're not mainstream, so sadly, not a lot of people listen to them, and they miss out, man. Some of the best episodes are some of the lesser ones that no one watches, or listens to, I should say. But yeah, so he's running from, he just ran into the Gestapo here. Dr. Weilgart was in fact stopped by such a patrol, but the inner voice took over, and to his surprise, Dr. Weilgart heard himself command the patrol to another mission. Strangely, the patrol obeyed, as if Dr. Weilgart had been in uniform of a higher officer. What? Soon Holland was being rapidly invaded by the Nazis, who would have executed Weilgart as a deserter. this young mystic's inner voice brought him to the Dutch governor of Java, who happened to be in the Hague, H-A-G-U-E, Hague, or Hague, in the Hague. I'll say Hague, because it's spelled kind of like Prague. You don't say Progu, you say Prague, or Pragu, Hague, yeah. The Hague, and he wrote an American visa for Walgart and gave him a ship ticket. In the meantime, somebody had sent Walgart's poems to Thomas Mann, who, as Nobel Prize winner and honorary doctor of the University of California, gave him a postdoctoral research fellowship there to write his book, Shakespeare, Psychognostic. Walgart, as a disciple of Albert Schweitzer, followed the inner voice, which told him in a generation, the blacks' problems would engulf America. From 1945 to 1955, he served as a professor at Xavier University for Tropians and Indians. Tropians for the race originating in tropic climates, and Caucasians are terms Dr. Walgart prefers to blacks and whites, which make the contrast too harsh. Also black. Okay, it's getting into... Okay, I mean, yeah, it's getting into the language. Okay. So, here we go. Tropians for the... This is where it gets back into the A-U-E. Tropians for the race originating in tropic climates. Caucasians are terms Dr. Walgart's prefers to blacks and whites, which make the contrast too harsh. Also, black in Western languages has a negative connotation. So, like, he was politically correct before politically correctness came around, which is cool, you know. So, let's see what... In A-U-E, the language of space... By the way, this book was written in 1960 something, so do not jump me for saying this. In A-U-E, the language of space, a Negro is called A-U, sun space man, a man adapted to sunny regions. Then he received a United Nations research grant, finished his second doctoral degree in psychology and psychotherapy at the universities of Heidelberg and Zurich, became a psychotherapist for the UN, and invented the WERT, W-E-R-T, Walgart Ethos Rhyme Test, not only for crime and suicide prevention, but for personality development. Chand and Company of New Delhi, India, published Dr. Walgart's Language of Space. The language of space makes man immune against the slavery of slogans and the idolatry of ideologies, for it makes language a communication of transparent truth. For millennia, ever since the confusion of tongues, prophets had to speak their messages in a babel of conventional languages. Dr. Walgart says, and their message has been misunderstood, as it was distorted into slogans of hate. Even Jesus, using the word faith, was distorted. Jesus said, you must believe in me. You must believe my word of love, so that you will follow me and do as I do. Love God and your neighbor. But then faith was used as a belief in certain scholastic dogmas, and whoever was not a dogmatic believer became an infidel or heretic, to be burnt at the stake without any Christian love. Auto de fe, act of faith, got to mean a most hateful torture and execution. There is no danger of malignant men misusing the language of space, for it is the language of peace through understanding and the logos of health. The introduction by the Academy of Science calls it logotherapy of mental health. Logic, wisdom, and loving goodness coincide in the language of space. For in the atomic age, it is finally wise to be good. Only the wisdom of love can survive. See, this is what I needed in my life right now. This is what I needed in my life today. As a young psychotherapist, Dr. Weilgart received a shock when he encountered a young boy in a mental hospital who addressed him in Au'i. Among the words which the boy spoke was brew, be, together, are, good, you, man. An example, a man with whom we feel good together, a friend, was the translation of that word, brew. Dr. Weilgart learned that the boy had been placed in the hospital because he insisted on speaking only in this language, which was unintelligible to his parents, teachers, and physicians. When the boy spoke in his mother tongue, he would tell of a visit to another world far from this one. Ha ha! So he started speaking the language that this guy had invented. I told you, man, you guys got to stay tuned. I come across some wicked crazy stuff that is like non-mainstream stories, you know. Dr. Weilgart went to the director of the hospital and told him that the boy was not sick, that his language made sense. The director ignored the young doctor and ordered electroshock treatment for the boy. The boy resisted the electroshock as much as he could, Dr. Weilgart recalled. He told me that he feared that the treatments would make him forget what he had learned on the other star. Kitty, chill. In his struggle, he died. But with his dying words, he said to me, "You believe in me. You tell them about the language of space." One cannot use Au'i for puns, double talk, slogans, or political invective, Dr. Weilgart points out. Analysis into its chemical elements dissolve implied insinuation into scientific proof of contradiction. The space language dissolves cheap slogans like acid falling on scrap metal. While psycho-counseling a Nazi paranoiac, Dr. Weilgart transformed the word glory into Au'i's kuo. Good feeling is what it translates to. To die for Hitler's glory became, I want to die so that Hitler can feel like he is God. Oh my God. He's like just recreating, like reversing everything negative. When an angry Southerner told Dr. Weilgart that Washington Carver may be a gentleman and a scholar, but in my book he's still a, this is not my words, nigger, the psychotherapist translated nigger in Au'i's Yer Yibu U, that is, bad black man. Therefore, in Au'i, the Southerner would be saying, even though Washington Carver is a wise man and a good man, he is still a bad black man. Hitler proved that the Jews were traitors who had caused Germany's defeat by the equivocal pun, Jude, Judah, Judas. All Jews, that is all Judah, are Judases, Dr. Weilgart says. Similar slogans are used against all despised minority groups and enemies who must be massacred. They are gooks, kikes, niggers, or traitors. When, as a student, I tried to rebel against Hitler, I saw that this demagogue with a dozen slogans got 12 million young people to die and kill for him. The linguist says, the atomic age needs no longer a language of battle cries, but a language of essential communication, of peace through understanding. On assignment from the United Nations to study standards of normalcy, I practiced psychotherapy in 37 countries, Dr. Weilgart said. In order to work effectively, I had to use a new semantics of logotherapy. In my work among juvenile delinquents in the United States and abroad, I found that a sucker, sissy, squealer moral code tends to replace the 10 Commandments. Therefore, I taught these demoralized delinquents, just like schizophrenic mutes, a new semantic language, just as I had done with the children of primitive tribes, the language of Au'i. So by the way, I know there's a lot of harsh language in this, but the guy is reversing those words. And you have to say those words to just tell what words you're saying. I can't stand it when I'm talking to someone and they're like, oh, he used the F word. And I'm like, what? Fuck? No, the other one. And I'm just like, faggot? Just say faggot. Like, it doesn't mean you're calling someone that. It doesn't mean you're saying that to someone. Just use the word. It's okay if you're not saying it to someone. You're just saying the word, you know. So honestly, in this channel, if that offends you, if you cannot handle a word, you're on the wrong channel, you know, sadly. I'm sorry. I hope you grow up someday. But yeah, I just used kike, nigger, you know, get over it. Like, the guy is not saying it in a derogatory term. He's recreating a new language to get rid of those words. So, if anything, SJW, you should be thumbing up the video and actually sharing it. Maybe learn something. I don't know. Watch this be the last video I put out. I'll get taken down because I said nigger. The language is itself a study of spiritual semantics in which, hang on, this cat is going crazy. The language is itself a study of spiritual semantics in which the meaning of spirit is visible in each word. The Logos has a childlike and therefore philosophic and scientific structure which makes it a universal vehicle of thought. In century-old Luther College in Decorah, Iowa, Dr. Weilgart's students meet together in his home in Semantic Meditation Society. Here such basic concepts as love, duty, and peace are vocalized in Au'i, and the expressive and communicative vibrations of individual meaning are meditated upon. In 1967, Dr. W. John Weilgart founded the Cosmic Communication Company, 100 Elm Court, Decorah, Iowa, 52101.
We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.